1 Corinthians 15, start in verse 3. For I delivered unto you first of all that which I also received, how that Christ died for our sins according to the Scriptures, and that he was buried, and that he rose again the third day according to the Scriptures, and that he was seen of Cephas, then of the 12. Now here's verse 6. This is very important to get this memorized. After that he was seen by over 500 brethren at once, of whom the greater part remain to the present, but some have fallen asleep. So Paul's saying in 1 Corinthians 15, verse 6, that there were more than 500 witnesses to the risen Christ, and that most of them, more than 250, were still alive. Now, if that's not true, and you're Paul, you're not going to add that most of them are still alive, because it would have been easy to discredit the epistle if that wasn't true. If someone made that claim and you were living then, wouldn't you go demand he produce the witnesses? There were plenty of people that would have loved to discredit Paul. You had Roman people, Jewish religious leaders. They would have loved a chance to embarrass Paul and discredit the epistle. But there's no record that they did, because there were more than 250 witnesses still alive. If there weren't, it would have been easy to discredit the epistle, and it never would have been accepted. One final point about the early Christian faith. All of the apostles except for John were murdered for preaching that Christ rose from the dead. You may die for something you think is true. You won't die for something you know is false. If the story of Christ's death and burial and resurrection was false, and that he didn't rise from the dead, those apostles would have been the one that made it up. You might get others to die for your hoax. You're not going to die yourself for your own hoax. Once again, you may die for something you think is true. You won't die for something you know is false. And no one ever could refute that claim, nor do they have a reasonable explanation on why Paul wrote what he did in 1 Corinthians 15, verse 6, because they know Paul doesn't write that if he can't back it up. If he couldn't have backed it up, the epistle never would have been accepted. But it was accepted, and we're still reading it. So have confidence that Jesus rose from the dead, and teach your children to believe that too. Thanks for watching. Peace all. Bye-bye.